This is an essay taken from the Common Core State Standards. It is a grade 8 student sample for an informative or explanatory essay. The Old Man and the Sea. In the book, The Old Man and the Sea, Ernest Hemingway tells the story of an old Cuban fisherman named Santiago, who, considered by the villagers to be the worst type of unlucky, is still determined to win a battle against a giant marlin off the coast of Cuba. Santiago succeeds, but his successes do not come without great hardship and struggle. He spends 3 days being dragged in his skiff by the enormous marlin with minimal food and water, all the while enduring acute physical pain, tiredness, and unending loneliness due to the absence of his young friend Manolin. It is only after Santiago's prized fish is completely devoured by sharks that he returns home to the village scorners and the safety of Manolin's trust. As his suffering and loss compound, we can see that Hemingway's quote, "A man can be destroyed but not defeated," offers a key insight into Santiago's life. As the story begins, we learn that Santiago has gone 84 days straight without catching a fish. Young Manolin's parents will no longer allow the two to fish together, for they do not want their son being exposed any more to this type of failure. Santiago and Manolin are deeply saddened by this news, but Santiago does not let the loss of his friend or the defeat that others see him suffering keep him off the sea. Rather, with bright and shining eyes, he thinks, maybe today, every day is a new day, and prepares to catch the biggest fish of his life. This shows that even though almost all of Santiago's acquaintances feel that his fishing career is over, he sees it about to reach its all-time high. Though he knows he is physically older and weaker than most of his fellow fishermen, he refuses to let their opinions and stereotypes destroy his confidence and determination. As the story progresses, Hemingway presents an even more vivid picture of Santiago, refusing to be destroyed by the forces that threaten to defeat him. Even after he accomplishes the difficult task of hooking the giant marlin, he finds his skiff being dragged by the fish for over 2 days. Living in the small boat is no easy task for Santiago, and soon injury and suffering seem to take over his entire body. His back is sore from sitting so long against the skiff board, his face is cut from fishing hooks, his shoulders ache, and his eyes have trouble focusing. More difficult to endure, though, is the terrible condition in which he finds his hands. The left one is weakened from a period of being tightly cramped, and both are extremely mutilated from the burn of the moving fishing line. It would have been so much easier for Santiago to simply give up and release the fish, yet he knows that if he endures a little longer, victory will be his. Even when it seems he has no effort left, Santiago promises himself, "I'll try it again." This is Santiago's real inner determination coming through. He has encountered so many obstacles during the past few days, yet he will not let them defeat his dream of killing the fish. There is no outside force promising a splendid reward if he succeeds, only those that threaten to ridicule him if he is destroyed. Santiago is working solely on his own desire to fulfill his dream and prove to himself that, although his struggles may cost him his life, he can accomplish even the seemingly impossible. All 3 days all 3 long days and nights, Santiago's determination pays off, and at last he manages to catch and kill the marlin. It is only a very short time that he has to relish in its triumph, though, for a few hours later, vicious sharks begin to destroy the carcass of the great fish. For hours, Santiago manages to ward them off, but this time it is not he who wins the final battle. Spirits low and pains at an all-time high, Santiago returns to the village, toying behind him only the bare skeleton of a treasure that once was. It seems as though Santiago is ready to curl up and die, and indeed he has reason to feel this way. Yet as he rests alone and talks with Manolin, we see a hint of Santiago's determination that has characterized his personality throughout the entire story begin to shine through. Upon reaching home, he begins to make plans with Manolin about future adventures they will have together. Hemingway tells us that Santiago in his youth had loved to watch the majestic lions along his home on a white sand beach in Africa, and he still returns to those dreams when searching for contentment. That night, as Santiago drifts off to sleep, Hemingway tells that he was indeed dreaming about the lions. This is perhaps the truest test of how much courage and determination a person has. If even when they have suffered the biggest defeat of their life, they are able to look to the future and realize the wonderful things they still possess. Though the forces of nature and time destroyed Santiago's prized fish, he refuses to let the fact ruin the rest of his life. No one can take away his love for Nolan or memories of once was, and because of this, no one can truly defeat Santiago. In conclusion, throughout the entire story, The Old Man and the Sea, Santiago refuses to surrender to the forces working against him. He ignores the comments of those who think he is unlucky, endures great physical pain, and rises up from the depths of sorrow over the lost marlin to find happiness in which he does possess. Hemingway's quote, "A man can be destroyed but not defeated," truly does display the amount of determination that Santiago shows throughout his life.